All right, so welcome everyone. My name is Lindsay Goldstein and I serve as the Acting Director for the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life. I am so glad to welcome you all to our presentation today. I want to start off by saying congratulations. We are so excited to welcome you to our Bruin family, and we are so excited that you are interested in joining the fraternity and sorority community here at UCLA. We are going to spend some time today speaking about our community and giving some more details and some information around our general UCLA Greek community. And then you'll also hear from our council leaders. So we are lucky enough to have all of our council presidents from our 6 different councils to share about their unique council and their own experience as a student and as a student leader. We will then have a Q&A opportunity, so please feel free to use that chat function to submit questions as our presentation goes along. Those do come straight to me, so I'll make sure that we review them and help answer all the questions that we can. I've also seen all of the questions that have come through your registration, so if you did submit one of those questions, we will go ahead and answer those also today for us to share at the end. Also remember that our council presidents are students too, who were once sitting in your shoes about having to make a decision about where to go to school. And so even if you have some general questions around the UCLA experience also as a student, please feel free to ask those questions as well, as I know they would be happy to tell you about kind of their experience at UCLA. We're gonna go ahead and get started. So the office mission for the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life is to really serve to enhance the growth and development of our students through their membership and engagement with the fraternity and sorority community. And so part of that is seen through some of our advising. So we help advise all of our chapters and councils in the programming and work that they do. We have 3 full-time staff members. So Larry Daves and Emily Oswalt serve as my colleagues and our assistant directors in the office. And we also have part-time student interns who work with us as well, who are also members of our Greek community. And we also look to engage in the larger Greek UCLA community, right? So their individual experience with our fraternity and sorority is still connected to the larger UCLA experience through their values, through their oaths that connect to our true Bruin values. And so you will hear quite a lot, if you haven't already, about what it means to be a true Bruin and what those values are. And so we're going to ask our Bruins to really raise the bar through respect, accountability, integrity, service, and excellence. So each chapter really has that values-based experience, and you'll hear that as our councils talk a little bit even about their own communities that align with our true Bruin values. And so what are those values? Like I said, we're going to ask our students to raise the bar through respect. We want to make sure that our students are respectful of one another and are respectful of their experience. So when we think about what that means to respect one another, that means that we're going to make sure our students are safe, that we're providing an experience and we're engaging in behaviors that are appropriate, that align with our student code of conduct, that align with our own expectations of one another. We're going to ask that they follow some accountability structures. So we know we have a long history in understanding what our chapter, our council, our community history is, and it can be very impactful. And so we always want to make sure that our chapters know that they are accountable for what they do in a really positive way, but also when things might not go so well. So know that part of being a part of a fraternity and sorority is trying to be the best versions of ourselves, right? I know our students can talk to about how their experiences in their organizations when they've made great decisions and also not the best decisions, that's come from a place of support in order to help them each grow to be a better leader, a better student, a better community member. And so we also look to encourage our students to be open to that feedback and to be open to learn and grow as a person and as a community through our membership standards. What that might look like at the organizational level is through different accountability measures and through education and training. And so we work a lot on preventative measures around things like preventing hazing on our campus, prevention work around alcohol and drug use and abuse, and also through gender-based violence. And so we work very closely with a lot of our partner programs, with our care office, which helps support survivors. We partner with parents and families. So we just partnered recently with Leanne Kowiak, who's a UCLA parent, who is a leading advocate on stopping hazing with some community-wide efforts. And you may be asking yourself, Lindsay, why are you talking to me about some really concerning behaviors? And why I would say that is because we know that there are societal issues that happen on college campuses, and we want to be on the forefront of making sure that our students have a safe experience and that they are not hopefully engaging in those behaviors, but if they are, that there's a way to support them through it. And so that might be hard, I know, for some folks to think, oh, this is supposed to be a great experience, what might go wrong? But we want to let you all know what our community does to prevent, hopefully, any of those things from happening, because our goal is that our students who join the fraternity and sorority community have a safe experience and a fun experience when they join. We want to make sure that our students are continuing to act with integrity. So we know that that our values align very well with your values as an admitted student, right? You worked so hard to get here, and we are so happy that you are joining our community, hopefully, and that you're saying yes to that SIR. That's tomorrow, and we just want to make sure that we're continuing to strive to the best of our abilities to ensure that we are continuing to act full of integrity. Service. You will hear a lot of our councils as they present about their own communities, talk about their service to the UCLA community, to the local community, and also to the global community. So many of our students have ongoing partnerships and relationships with the LA Regional Food Bank, with local community partnerships and programs. They may do ongoing volunteer work at local elementary schools, or help in access and helping families feel comfortable in understanding what the admissions process looks like. And so service, as being a core tenet of the UCLA community values, absolutely runs strong in our fraternity and sorority community as well. And excellence. And so, as I said, many our students who are on the call, our council leaders, were once in your shoes, striving for excellence, striving to get into UCLA, and I know that they continue to strive to be excellent students while they're here. And so that is something that they can certainly speak to about how that balance has worked for them in being a top leader on campus while also engaging in an academic experience that can be rigorous. So let's talk a little bit about the legacy of UCLA's Greek community. We have a rich history here at UCLA. As UCLA just hit our centennial from 1919, so we're just passing our centennial celebration. Greek Life will actually hit our centennial celebration in 2023. So our first Greek lettered organization, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, was founded in January 1923. And so many of our chapters who were founded in those early years are starting to hit their centennial, which is really exciting for them. We know that your interest in joining our Greek community will only be one more step in your journey, hopefully, in becoming an impact maker within the UCLA Greek community and within the Bruin community at large. You can see some of our Greek alumni who have passed through our doors. Former Los Angeles PD police chief and mayor of Los Angeles, Tom Bradley, is a member, or was a member, of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Arthur Ashe, famed tennis player, also a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. And Carol Burnett, beloved comedian, is a member of Alpha Delta Pi sorority. So what does our community look like? What it distinguishes UCLA's Greek community from other campuses? We have a total of about 3,600 students as part of our community, representing about 66 chapters, and those are all governed within 6 different councils. And so that is who you're going to hear from in just a minute, are those council presidents. And so what do they represent, though? They represent students from across the campus. So a little bit of the experiences of our students. 38% of our entire Greek community have a 3.5 GPA or higher. And so I always like to share some of the grade point averages, because one of the main questions we get a lot from students and families is, can I still balance the rigors of UCLA with joining a fraternity and sorority? And I think our students will speak to this in a minute, but that is absolutely possible. That may come with some different time management skills, different supportive programs that often the fraternity or sorority actually engages with, different study sessions, academic buddies and partnerships, and resources. But as you can see, when the quarter ended in March, our finals were happening right actually when UCLA was starting to go remote. And as you can see, our students are all Greek. Undergrad population from the winter quarter received an average GPA of a 3.62, which is just amazing and should be commended. But that really also comes from a place not just of being the best and the brightest, right? Because that's who you are coming into UCLA, but also the support that the fraternal community gives one another. So being able to turn to one another for those extra help in classes and to get through those academic expectations. And so that is definitely something that we're very proud of. 34% of students speak 2 or more languages. And so that is an incredible experience, whether that is from their own childhood and growth experience in learning different languages, or traveling throughout the world in study abroad programs and different language programs. Being able to get that experience, again, to really be true global leaders is something that we are very proud of. 17% of our community are first generation college students. So this is their first time they are the first in their family to come to college. And we are so proud that they are able to then join to our community and give some wonderful experience and support also to other members of the Greek community and also to other first-gen students. And 29% of students are out-of-state students, be that from out of the state of California, but here in the US, or also part of our international student population. We'll just give some demographics for you, that there's about 30% of our students are in their 4th year, so finishing out and graduating this year. Again, another 30% of students are in their 3rd year, 24% of students are in their 2nd year, and 13% of students are in their 1st year at UCLA. Why I always like to share that breakdown is because a lot of questions that we'll get, and I know our students have varying answers on this call, which is great, is when do I join? And does everyone join right away, or when during their 1st year? And I like to share that no, not everyone joins their 1st year, and that students are certainly still able to join after their 1st year of entry at UCLA. And so why we're going to ask you to consider Greek life. Like I said, a lot of questions that we do get is thinking about time commitment, right? How much time am I going to need to engage in a fraternity and sorority? How do I balance my time with my academics and other activities I might be involved in? And really, you're going to get and have to spend as much time as you would want to put into it. That's also what you're going to see in the return of your experience. So I know each one of our students can talk to that their time commitment to their own organizations and experience has changed over the years, as they started maybe as a general chapter member, took on some committee work, took on presidential leadership, and then continued to engage at the council level as well. Some basic formats, though, just for everyone's knowledge, is that most chapters have meeting about once a week. Again, you may have different committee meetings that may add on to that as you look to get engaged in your leadership. There are also then different community service events, philanthropy events, alumni events, and social engagements that may occur throughout the quarter, but that our students will have plenty of time's notice in when those get scheduled, so that way you can plan that out into your calendar. There is a financial obligation. It does vary chapter to chapter. And why we like you to know about this is because it is a commitment, but that commitment all returns back to you. So all of our organizations are completely nonprofit. All of the dues that would be paid for each chapter organization all goes to putting on each of the programs and events that chapters may host. And so we really encourage you, as you continue to do some of your research and information gathering in joining an organization, that each one of our chapters would be able to answer those questions on exactly how much their due structure is, so that you can have a clear amount of information and a clear thought in making that decision about a chapter to join. And that this really is a lifetime experience. So I know many of the council presidents actually on the call are about to graduate and move into their alumni experience, and or have graduated and are in their alumni experience. And myself and my two colleagues, my staff, are all members of Greek organizations, still very much active, both within our organizations and also nationwide in the fraternal community. And so that's really something that distinguishes joining a fraternity and sorority from another club or organization on campus, that these members that you are joining with, these brothers and sisters and siblings, are going to be lifelong friends as part of this experience. And so some of the experience also that I wanted to share a little bit about is some of our leadership development. So each one of our chapters do have leadership programs that are available either locally, regionally, or nationally that students can get engaged with. And then also within our office, we have our Gold Academy. So Gold stands for the Greek Organizations Leadership and Development Academy, and it's a two-part program. So there are two tracks. The first track is for emerging leaders, and so that's where we look to focus on first and second year students who have maybe either just taken a position or are thinking of taking a leadership role, where they can go, we go away for the weekend and engage in a lot of leadership development, looking at different skill building scenarios, really preparing those students to take on leadership roles in their latter years at UCLA. And then the second track is for our continuing leaders. So in that same weekend, we take all of our chapter presidents and council presidents and executive boards away in that same weekend, and also work through different leadership and skill building at a higher leadership level. And what's great is those programs happen at the same time. So our emerging leaders really get a wonderful opportunity to talk and learn from our continuing leaders, so they can pass on their words of wisdom and their experience to our upcoming leaders within the community. So it's a great opportunity for folks to get engaged in. And so now at this time, I'm going to share this over to our council leaders. We are fortunate, as I said, to have our 6 council presidents share about their experience. And so we have representatives from our Asian Greek Council, our Interfraternity Council, our Latinx Greek Council, our Multi-Interest Greek Council, our National Pan-Hellenic Council, and the Panhellenic Council here today with us. And so I'm going to ask that they each, as they introduce themselves, and I will click through your slides for you to share your name, your major, and then the information you have to share with us today. And so if you could unmute yourself when you're ready, I will kick it off. So I'll introduce to Lily.
Hi everyone, my name is Lily. I'm the current president of the Asian Greek Council, or AGC. I'll call it. I'm a fourth year Chinese major, and I'm an out-of-state student, so I'm from Philadelphia. There is so much that I would love to say about my community, but I'll try to keep it brief. So AGC at UCLA has 3 chapters, 2 sororities and 1 fraternity, and in total we have about 150 members. All of our chapters do not have a house, which helps keep our dues low, and most of our members end up moving in with each other anyways on the dorms or in the hill, or on the dorms or in the apartment. You absolutely do not have to be Asian or of Pacific Islander descent to join one of our chapters. We're an inclusive community. You just have to be okay with that a lot of our philanthropy supports the Asian American community. All 3 of our chapters recruit during fall quarter and sometimes, but not always, in the spring quarter as well. So a little bit of history. AGC at UCLA was established in 1929 with the chartering of the nation's first and oldest Asian interest sorority, which is still active in our council today. So while our community has definitely grown over the past 91 years, it has always served as a home away from home for our members. Our long history also means that we have a very strong and extensive alumni network in a variety of fields and walks of life, and they continue to be very involved and guide us every day. The photo you're seeing on the slide is of the AGC's leadership board. So the board, along with overseeing, the things that are going on in the community and whatnot, also works closely with the Asian Pacific Coalition at UCLA, which is a coalition of 15 Asian Pacific Islander Daisy American student organizations on campus. So together, this provides exposure and connects us to another world of student organizations on campus, as well as provides exposure and structure to the world of student government. At the end of the day, AGC is a space for our members to find community and family at UCLA. So throughout the school year, our chapters and the board host social and philanthropy events. I don't want to overgeneralize the events between our unique chapters or take too much of the time. So please feel free to ask me more specific questions during our Q&A at the end about life in AGC. One last thing I wanted to add, personally speaking, I never would have guessed that I would join Greek life in college. I joined my second year. Never mind being a president of a council or speaking on behalf of AGC to you guys. But I know I'm here because I want to give back to a community that provided me with the tools for a lot of self-growth while I was at UCLA. Finally, through my community, I found a sense of home at such a large and intimidating university. So if you choose UCLA, which we all hope you do, we can't wait to meet you guys. And that's it for AGC. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Robbie Newberry. I'm the president of the Interfraternity Council at UCLA, also known as IFC. I study political science, and I'm a third-year student. So, IFC is a community of 22 men's social fraternities with a variety of interests and backgrounds. So these include chapters that are specific to STEM majors or those with unique religious interests, as well as chapters just with a unique cultural and atmosphere. So there's really a place for everyone within the IFC community. And that's really indicative of the fact that we have 22 different chapters. So the row at UCLA is a really diverse and place, and you can find community within any of those chapters, and you'll find a community that fits kind of what you're looking for as you come to UCLA. So in that same vein, chapters focus on different goals. Broadly speaking, IFC seeks the development of character who are going to make a positive impact in their community, both here at UCLA and beyond when they graduate. In my own experience, I think IFC and the 22 chapters that are part of it do a really good job of this. Like Lily, I was someone who wasn't going to join a Greek letter organization when I got to UCLA, and slowly I found myself being a general member, rising to chapter president, and now I'm at the council leadership level. And a great deal of that is because of the integrity and the character of men that I've met. And I truly do believe that IFC strives to foster accountability, personal development, citizenship, and remain true to those true Bruin values that Lindsay talked about at the beginning. And we're looking for new members that are going to do exactly that, who are going to continue that legacy on and really trying to make the Greek community at UCLA and just the Bruin experience better for everyone. Our social and program events really vary from chapter to chapter. So there's the more social events, as well as a variety of philanthropies ranging from mental health outreach to LA's homeless population, as well as issues pertaining to specifically men. And some chapters also participate in joint philanthropies. So if you're looking to be an advocate to really make the world and the broader Los Angeles community a better place, there are issues that you can attack within the IFC community and a platform that will allow you to do that. So just like each chapter's culture is unique, the community and service and outreach looks different. If you're looking to join an IFC chapter, recruitment happens generally 3 times a year, in the fall, winter, and the spring. For this upcoming fall quarter, it's going to happen during 0 week, and it's traditionally called Rush Week, and it offers an opportunity to look at all the chapters, to get a feel for each chapter's environment, to meet the brothers within each fraternity, and just find a place where you feel like you'd be at home and can thrive within the UCLA community. And UCLA is a big place, and one thing that I always like to tell new students is that it's incredibly important for you to find a community early on, and it's going to make your UCLA experience so much more robust and so much more beneficial. And I like to think that IFC offers a great opportunity to do that. So thanks for listening to me. I hope we'll see you all on campus next year as new Bruins, and I look forward to taking any questions you may have at the end.
Hi, everybody. My name is Flor Quiñones. I'm the president of the Latinx Greek Council. I'm a 4th year applied math major. I'm going to start off with a little bit of history of how the Latinx Greek Council came to be. So in the spring of 2005, representatives of 5 Latinx based Greek lettered organizations at UCLA came together for like a community service project to help the community, and they wanted to promote a union amongst the Latinx based Greek lettered organizations, and they wanted to enhance not only their individual organizations but the Latinx community at UCLA as a whole. So this was the birth of the Latino Greek Council, and as of 2019, we did go through a name change, the Latinx Greek Council, to provide more inclusive environment to people's identities. And we did start off with 5 organizations and have grown to 4 sororities and 4 fraternities. So the purpose of the Latinx Greek Council was to create and enhance high standards for our own member organizations by addressing, coordinating, and planning strategic programming to promote higher education and provide a helping hand to our community and enhance our leadership. Though the membership in this council is not limited to students of Latino heritage, the Latinx Greek Council serves as a multi-faith organization that represents Latinx interests at the university, manages and assists in the expansion of new Latinx Greek organization, and advocates on behalf of the Latinx Greek Council Greek student population at UCLA. So talking a little bit about programming, we do a lot of programming to help our members throughout our council with academics, mental health. We also have a big welcome during week 0. This serves as like a recruitment programming. So we do a big welcoming. It's called Bienvenida. For all the students incoming and current to just explore the option of the chapters in the Latinx Greek Council. We also do a programming in the spring or winter, which we do showcase our diverse community, as a lot of our chapters do have traditions that aren't shared amongst others. So it's very unique, as we do for example, like stepping and strolling, and some do machete dancing. So those are one of the things that we do like to we're like proud to showcase, since all of our organizations do something unique to them. So as I mentioned, we do recruitment week 0. We usually hold a big LGC informational just to get more information. The processes for each of the organizations to join are different, but they go more in depth in the informational. Just stay tuned. If you want more information about each organization, our website is on the slideshow. It goes into depth with all of the 8 organizations there are. Yes.
Hi, everybody. My name is Skylar Wolpert. I am currently the president of Latinx Greek Council, which I will be calling MIGC because it's kind of a mouthful. So we are made up of 12 different organizations, including 8 sororities and 4 fraternities. And we are more identity-specific organizations. So MIGC was created in 2010 to kind of create this space for organizations that are more identity specific. So we have some organizations like Gamma Rho Lambda, which is an LGBTQIA+ all-inclusive sorority. We have my sorority, Sigma Delta Sigma, which is a multicultural sorority. We have Zeta Phi Rho, which is a multicultural fraternity. But we also have Alpha Gamma Alpha and Alpha Epsilon Omega, which are Armenian organizations, and stuff like that. So we have a diverse group of, kind of a diverse group of groups, I should say, in our Greek Council, and we do not offer any housing, kind of similar to what Lily said. It does bring our dues down typically, and it's a really great space to be in. I feel very lucky to have such a diverse council at UCLA to be a part of, and something that got brought up a ton earlier, it's like balancing academics and Greek life. And that's something I'm very passionate about because I'm a transfer student and I worked really hard for 2 years to get into UCLA. And I was like, there is no way I'm joining Greek life. That is not my scene. And I happened to meet the person who's now my big on Bruin Walk. And I was like, oh my God, there's this group of women who, you know, our 3 pillars are diversity, sisterhood, and community service. And I'm like, that's exactly what I want to be a part of, a group like that. And I found myself this year being in this leadership position, which is incredible and such a privilege. And honestly, Greek life is what you make of it at UCLA, but we have all these organizations that you can join. I joined as a junior transfer. My newest little joined as a graduating senior. And our kind of rush experience is very different depending on the organization. The website link is attached to this slide, and we will be updating it throughout the year so that there's more information as it comes. But my organization itself rushes in fall and winter quarter, but many of our organizations rush fall and spring quarter. It just depends. But that's really all I had to say, and I congratulate you guys all for getting into UCLA, and yeah.
Hi everybody, my name is Vanessa. I'm a 4th-year anthropology major and a Fall 17 initiate of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, Magnificent Waffle Chapter, and I'm currently the National Pan-Hellenic Council President. So National Pan-Hellenic Council, or NPHC, was established May 10, 1930, and the mission is unanimity of thought and action for all the organizations. So our council encompasses the 9 Black Greek letter organizations with 7 currently active and recognized at UCLA. So our organizations are community service-based, but there are also social aspects such as yard shows where each organization gets to display their steps and their strolls, their hand signs, their calls, and kind of display what makes them unique, but also similar in our council. So a lot of our programs are based on the national programs and community services of each organization. So it differs depending on the organization. Some are based on education, some are based on civic action, and it just depends. For membership, we don't have a typical rush period, but it's dependent on when each organization wants to bring people in. So the way to go about membership is, one, we're really big on sisterhood or brotherhood, scholarship, and service. So we require that you have a 2.5 GPA, allowing you to get acclimated to the university and establishing your GPA.
Vanessa, I'm going to pause you for a second just because I think we might have lost your audio.
Oh my gosh, can you hear me?
Oh, you're back. Okay, great. So if you can start again after the GPA, because I think that's when I heard up until after the GPA.
Okay, so not too much was gone.
No.
Okay.
Thanks, Vanessa.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, so we want to make sure you have an established GPA of at least a 2.5. And then from there, what you want to do is go ahead and do research, make sure that the organizations that you're interested in align with your interests, the type of service that you would want to do and give back to the community. And then from there, you can go ahead and attend programs, see how they implement this sort of interest, making sure that also you get along with people in the chapter. That way you can facilitate that brotherhood and that sisterhood. And then from there, just having a discrete relationship, making sure that you're establishing that interest between you and the chapter itself. And definitely, like Skylar said, Greek life is what you make of it. Our council is not one of the biggest councils on campus, but everybody in there works really hard to make sure that their presence is established on campus. And it's really a great community and a great family where even though everyone in every single organization is different, everyone still has the same drive and energy to be a positive impact, to be hardworking, and to make sure that they're making a big impact, not only for the UCLA community, but the Los Angeles community at large. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I'll definitely be able to answer any questions. And the Instagram is down below on the page. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sarah, and I am the current Pan-Hellenic president. At UCLA, I am a third-year pre-med student, and I'm majoring in ecology. And so a little bit about Pan-Hellenic. We are a Greek community that is open to all women identifying students at UCLA. So to kind of pause and take a step back in time, the idea of Pan-Hellenic was founded when all-male colleges opened admission to women. However, at these institutions, male education was prioritized more than women's education. And so women took it upon themselves to create women-only spaces so that they could gain a support system and really encourage each other in their educational and career pursuits. And so here we are today. UCLA Pan-Hellenic was established in 1923, so almost 100 years ago. And we are currently made up of 13 women's sororities, 2 of which are associate member chapters, which just means that they have an additional requirement, one being a Christian sorority and the other being a hard science or STEM-based sorority. And those 2 chapters' recruitment process look a little bit different than the formal recruitment process that normally takes place in the fall, which the other 11 chapters participate in. We are the largest women's organization on campus with close to 2,000 women. And we have one factor that we are really proud of is that we have a higher GPA on average than the all-women's GPA here at UCLA. Each one of our chapters has their own philanthropy and programming that is really based on their values, and everyone in our community is really passionate about the idea of service and helping others. We are actually having our own webinar on Monday, May 4th at 5 p.m. So if you want more information about that, check out our Instagram and our website. I think one thing you'll pick up on, not just from me or any of the council presidents, but for many people within the Greek community, is that none of us really expected to join Greek life, but we all found something within our own councils that really spoke to us. And it's really important at a big school like UCLA to find a place where you feel like you can belong. And I found that in Pan-Hellenic, and the other council presidents found it in their own organizations, and it led us all to where we are today.
Great. Thank you, everyone. So I do want to touch on the potential elephant in the room, in that clearly we would normally be hoping to give you this presentation during Bruin Day, but as the world events have turned, we are all of us are remote at the moment. And so I know a big question, especially one that came through our registration questions, was how are we planning for fall? And so we are currently following all of the guidelines set out by the CDC, our local and national public health officials, as well as our California governor, in making sure that any return back to work, back to campus, back to classes is all done safely, and making sure that that is our top priority, as well as ensuring that the student experience is still happening. And so what does that mean on what fall looks like? We are working very closely with our leadership at UCLA, as well as with all of our council and chapter leadership, to determine, depending on what decision does get made for fall quarter, that we are thinking about how to adjust recruitment or intake processes differently, either for the fall quarter or maybe during a different time period during the academic year. And so as some of our council presidents have started to allude to, is that we will make sure that we are updating you with all of the relevant information available, and the best way to get that information on what fall might look like, or what recruitment and intake looks like throughout the academic year, either this year or beyond at UCLA, is to follow all of our Instagram accounts. So you'll see listed both our office Instagram account as well as all of the council Instagram accounts. These will also list to websites and emails and contact information. And so please feel free to utilize those to reach out, to ask any questions about what either this fall might look like, or even beyond, what joining the community after your first quarter might look like, either given the current situation or when hopefully we're all back to regular functionalities of campus. And so just wanted to make sure that we touched on that, because I know that was a big question that had come up. And so now we do have some time for Q&A. Again, the chat function is open. That comes to me. And so please feel free to put in any questions that you have, and I'll make sure to ask them to the group. And so I'll start off with some questions that have already come through. And so feel free, our council presidents, if you want to just unmute yourself. Not everyone has to answer, and I'm not certainly going to call on anyone. But can you talk to me a little bit about how you find balance, maybe in before you took on a big leadership role in your membership experience, and kind of balancing that out either with your academics or your other involvements? I know many of you are engaged in other areas of campus as well. So maybe you can talk to me a little bit about balance. Whoever wants to unmute first.
I can go first.
Okay.
This was something that really I had to work on, because when I transferred to UCLA, it was much harder of a transition than I expected. So for me, this is something I know a lot of people say, but it's all about keeping a calendar or schedule of some sort. I have to do it on my computer because that's the only way that I can keep track of everything, but scheduling helps so much. And I still do it. Like, I have to schedule everything, but it really helps me to visualize deadlines and kind of keep consistent with what's happening when. At least for me, that's been incredibly helpful with like balancing academics and Greek life.
Great, thank you. Robbie, go ahead. I saw you unmute.
Sure. Yeah, I certainly agree with that. I think, you know, you're as an admitted student to UCLA, you've already established yourself as someone who's likely very busy, who was very busy in high school, who achieved at a high level academically. And so you've developed some of these study habits that you can continue to lean on. Certainly, this was a big thing for me, was time management. I'm also involved in ROTC. I've worked since day one of coming to UCLA, and then now obviously I've led both at a chapter level and now at a council level. So time management is super important. And one thing I try to emphasize to whether it's an executive team that I'm leading or just a younger guy in one of my organizations, is that you have to get your priorities straight too, and there's going to be times when you have to make a tough call on where you want to put your time. And at the end of the day, we're all here to graduate, and academics are extraordinarily important in graduating. So making sure you're putting the time you need to, and then that varies based on the individual, to achieve your goals academically is super important. And it's really tempting, I think, at times to invest your time elsewhere, whether it's organizational obligations or social gatherings, and those are really important things. But there's a great support network that comes with Greek life, and there's a lot of people who are going to help support you in devoting the time you need to academics. So that's kind of the point that I would add.
Great, thank you.
I wanted to expand on Robbie's point about having a support network. So I would say that no matter what organization or interest or club that you join at UCLA, of course it's going to be a source of fun or a place to explore other interests, but I think it's important to take advantage of what having a community can provide you. So actually for me, my time management skills before I joined a sorority were not that great. And it was joining a sorority that actually made me a lot better, because suddenly I had a community of people who I could study with and rely on, and who pushed me to be better, but also who held me really accountable. And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be in a Greek organization, but I think it's really important when you go to college to find a community and to find that structure and that support group, and that will really help you practice and get in good habits of time management and balancing your life.
That's great, thank you. I know we've still got a good number of folks on the call, and so please feel free to ask any questions or continue to ask questions that you may have. I'll pose another one, and maybe if there's some other folks who can feel comfortable sharing. So some of you are getting ready to graduate, and so if you can talk to me a little bit about how joining a fraternity or sorority has helped prepare you, either for job experience, graduate schools, kind of that lifelong connection, getting ready to move into alumni world, which I know seems like a really far ahead place from our admitted students, but I'm sure you can share a little bit about how quickly it did go by. So or even just for our students who aren't graduating, any internship experiences or anything, like what are some of those things that have prepared you kind of for that next step?
I'll go first. So I think for me, learning how to run, first being in a chapter and then learning how to run a council, there's a lot of applicable skills that you learn, whether it be funding applications, learning how to plan, learning how to work with different groups of people. All of these skills apply to what you're going to want to do in a workforce. And I think also one thing that my pro-fights always said, or pro-fights of people who join before you, is what they always said, that a chapter is run like a business. And that's really the case. You need to make sure that you're paying attention to details, that you're working with people, and that you're keeping open communication. And so I know whatever job that I do end up in, these are the type of skills that I can put down on a resume and actually apply and use within that job that are helpful. And not everybody does know these things. So it is really applicable and helpful.
Yeah, I totally agree with Vanessa on that, especially being in the position of president. Like, there's so many things that you learn, especially communicating with other people in Greek life. And that's something that I used to struggle with, like trying to communicate with people, which shocks some people because I am a communications major, but I have found that I'm able to really work on delegating, but also having these conversations. And the biggest thing for me is being able to work in a group, because not a big fan of group projects, but I feel like Greek life is kind of a humongous group project, and it is something that has really given me the ability to work in groups and really enjoy it a lot.
I totally agree with Skylar and Vanessa's points. And one more thing I wanted to add is all of our Greek organizations sure have a extensive alumni network, and just talking to not only alumni but also older members of your organization and just asking them, what internship did you do? Did you like it? What pre-career path did you try? Did you like it? What do you do for work now? Just having those connections and taking advantage of them and talking to them has been really helpful to get to where you want to go.
Great, thank you.
Add on, communication has been brought up, and I think that's the biggest one that I've personally grown in. Not only communicating like on a one-on-one, but as Skylar said, in a group setting, learning how everyone's different and like being able to adapt to that. Also, for community partners, talking to professionals and having them come to give like workshops and stuff. Before I even joined a sorority, I wasn't comfortable in approaching people for help, and I think as joining the sorority and being president has helped me to be able to go and reach out to people to help with the council.
Great, thank you all.
Oh, can I add one more thing?
Yes, absolutely.
To also answer the question, like what you're seeing us do right now also is a good example of how the Greek life experience gives us a lot of opportunities for leadership development and professional development. Like we have to, keep in touch with Lindsay and also learn how to do this public speaking and, coordinate, have meetings and stuff. So there's a lot behind Greek life that people don't realize you can benefit from, and that has to do with your career in the end.
Great, awesome, thank you all. As I wrap up, I want to thank everyone who's joined us for the call. I want to throw to each of our students one last question, is to our council presidents on the call. One last question is, if you had one piece of advice that you could give our admitted students, or something that you wished you knew when you were coming into UCLA as a first year or a transfer student, what is something that a small tidbit of advice that you could give our students? And so I'll ask kind of everyone to chip in if that's okay, and so whoever wants to kick us off.
I'll go first. I think one of the biggest things that I've learned that I think is a really good piece of advice is to self-advocate. There are a lot of resources and a lot of things out there, and I think if you're willing to ask for them or say that you do deserve to have them, they'll definitely come your way. So definitely self-advocate for resources, for jobs, for positions. I've applied for research positions that I'm technically not what they asked for, qualified for, but I asked to do it. I said that I was willing to work, and I've gotten them. So self-advocate, and you'll open a lot of doors for yourself.
I can go next. Something I tell people all the time: put yourself first. This is something that I had to really focus on in my transition to UCLA that I wish I would have sooner. And there are resources at UCLA for you. There are, there's the writing center, there's the libraries, there's even the staff in the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life. They're there to help you. And I needed that push to say, I need to focus on myself before I can do all these other things. And that really, really helped me in so many different ways.
That's great.
I can go next, I guess. I'd say my biggest advice is be more scared of missing an opportunity rather than failing at something you did try for. I almost didn't apply for this position because I didn't think I'd be good enough. I didn't think I would get it. And if I never did that, I'd never be in the position I am in now, being able to talk to you guys. And I think that it's taken me 3 years to learn that lesson. And if I would have learned it from day one, I would have probably be a lot smarter by now and probably be a lot more, have a lot more opportunities under my belt.
I think the piece of advice that I would offer is and it's not particularly complex, but find a community. When I was trying to figure out what school I was going to go to, and I had been admitted by UCLA, I remember I was talking with my dad, and he told me that you can make a large school feel small, but you can't make a small school feel large. UCLA has nearly 40,000 students, and that can be an intimidating thing, but it also comes with a great many opportunities. And you can make it feel small by finding a community and finding a group of people that are going to make your experience so much better. So I think that's super important, and that was my priority from day one. And I've been blessed and lucky with how it's worked out for me, and I think that can really help ease the transition coming from high school into college.
My piece of advice I would say is don't compare yourself to others. A lot of students at UCLA are always like, oh my God, am I not doing enough? Like all these, my friends around me, they have this internship, this whatever, this leadership position. Oh my goodness, like I don't even know what I'm going to major in, da 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 da. That kind of thinking will really just slow you down as a student. And another related piece of advice to that I got from alumni was it's a marathon and not a race. And I know we've all probably heard that before, but it's very true in college and professionally speaking. It's not about how fast you get there or how many things you did, but it's just about listening to yourself and really what you want to do and going at your own pace and knowing that you're doing, the best thing for yourself and not get clouded and distracted by, oh, what is everyone else doing around me? Everyone's so busy. And
my piece of advice does go in line with Lily's. It is take your time. I think when we come into a university, we do, at least for myself as a first generation student, not having anyone that has gone through the college experience before me, the ideal is to finish within 4 years. And just fairly recently, I've decided to do a 5th year. And at first it was really scary for me because I was like, I know I need to finish 4 years, but honestly, go at, like Lily said, it's at your own pace. And if you do need to take a break, because number one, in life is like the priority of your health and your well-being. So if it does take longer, it'll take longer, but the finish line is always going to be there and you'll cross it sooner or later.
Wonderful. Such great advice. I want to say thank you to all of our council presidents who have taken the time to sit on the Zoom with us, and thank you to all of our participants who are joining. I just want to again reiterate to reach out to us on our website, which is listed on this last slide. It has access and contact information to all of our council presidents and to chapters that you might be interested in. Please follow us on our social media handles. I'll put back that slide as well if you didn't get a chance to look at it for the most updated information. And we really look forward to seeing you and to engaging with you in our Greek community. And I just want to say again, congratulations to all of our admitted Bruins. We're so proud of you. And so thank you again for joining us today. I'm Lindsay Goldstein again with the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life. Thank you to our council presidents, and we will hopefully see you on campus soon. Have a good night.